So my name is Florence and I'm an ex-Concordia student and I'm a filmmaker. I work also as a producer with Sam and Caro, and Passages is our first feature-length documentary.
Hi, my name is Sam Trudel. I'm also a past Concordian graduate and working mostly as a cinematographer and also producing with Caro and Florence with our small production company called Les Films d'Enali.
It's the story of three women that come together for an expedition, and during this expedition we followed an Inuit passage following the Karok River in Nunavik in the north of Quebec. And not only is this an expedition that's physically challenging, but it's also an opportunity for them to connect with each other and their past and discover things about themselves and open up.
It's like a documentary form where we try to be more or less absent from the interactions with the protagonist. So it's mostly like you could say a little bit towards the cinema direct form of documentary, where we try to the least possible be intervening in what they're saying and doing.
The idea was to have three women live something that would change them in a context of an expedition, which was something that personally Caroline and I had faced and experienced before in our lives. And so we knew that there was a story there of self-discovery when you're in a challenging setup. I feel like we try to distance ourselves from too many influence before going to shoot this film. I personally felt like it could influence me in the wrong way, and for a first film it's like I felt like I didn't want to watch too many things that would kind of like distract me when we were in the editing and even before filming and making our decisions.
I think we established more like concepts of how we wanted to work, like we wanted it to be really like naturalistic. I think like personally, like in general cinematography that is more invisible. I prefer, like I don't like the image that takes the first the first place and gets all your attention and tells you that, oh, there's a cinematographer doing something here. Like I really like humble cinematography, which just serves the story and it's more like the backbone of the story. So I think it's even more true in documentaries. So of course any choice will like influence the result, but I think we just wanted it to be because the whole concept of the film of going there in a really raw place and with really raw conditions and hopefully having raw human interactions we didn't have much choice than to go with a really raw aesthetic approach. So I think that was the concept, to like skim down as much as we could the visual language in order to really just be a camera following the women. So we shot everything just like with one lens, for example, and we didn't want to have too many changes that would get the attention. So yeah, I think it was more like pinning down ways of working and like what we didn't want to be, but it's true that we didn't really like specify like titles or like artists. Wanted to leave some space for us to like, we didn't know how we would feel or like react being there filming, and just as us like human beings also going through this expedition, we didn't know how we would be. So I guess we left some space.
So the idea came from something a bit more personal, which was a first expedition in 2017 in Courjoac National Park, where then we shot Passages in 2019. And so during that first expedition, we were only there for a few days. It was a 5-day trip. And we discovered the land, and we had the idea of doing something greater. So for Passages, the expedition was 18 days. So it was a bigger project. And during the first time we went in the park, we shot a short documentary film called Kamanik, Caroline and I. The short film became something we used for promoting the greater idea that we had for this expedition. And we knew that we needed a bigger team, in the sense that it was a really small crew. It was only Samuel doing the camera, and we had Vincent doing sound, and then Caro and I directing, and the 3 protagonists. But financially, it was a first feature film, so we needed the help of funding. We had Telefilm coming into the project.
So Florence first talked to me about it about 3 years ago, and Florence and I worked on many projects. Like we studied together in Concordia, but after we worked on different short stories, she asked me are you interested in the project? And she said, if you are, it's more of a project where you implicate yourself completely. So it's more like you're not just doing the camera work, for example. It's more like it's a small crew, like she was saying. So everybody's input is actually considered, and it's a bit more of a bouncing ideas together. And so from the beginning, I just decided just not to jump in as a cinematographer, but to jump in the project as well, because I knew it was more about conceptualizing this expedition, thinking how it would work, and it was quite a big puzzle to make it safe and possible and realistic. So all these challenges actually they interested me. So I was seeing it more as a project more than just doing cinematography, which was for me interesting. The fact we didn't have electricity, for example, for a month, we had to calculate the exact number of batteries we wanted to bring, since we couldn't charge them. So we were carrying a big load of heavy batteries and memory cards, because there were no ways of backing up the footage that much. So we wanted to have as much batteries and memory cards. So that meant we needed to calculate. We had a specific limit of time of shooting every day. So we had to, even though if there were some stuff happening we wanted to record, we had to think, well, maybe in 25 days we'll be out of batteries or memory card space. So we need to manage our time. So it was really methodical in terms of shooting, a bit more, I guess, when you shoot with film, where it's more limiting in a way. But at the same time, it was nice to have this structure of time and limits. So it was more we're choosing what to shoot, and we're more careful about pressing the record button. Another challenge, but more than the technical side, a bit like Florence said, it was more about, I guess, a bit forgetting about our own journey because it was also a challenge for us to do this expedition. It would have been super hard, even though we were not shooting a film. So it was a bit putting that aside to really focus on our responsibility for the team. Myself, I know that I want to be doing projects that are more meaningful. I know sometimes you don't have the choice to make commercials and things like that, but I think this project made me realize that I would prefer to work more as doing these kind of complete projects that are just not being a cameraman, but being part of a whole projects. I think I would rather do really personal, more 360 projects like this, and just keep the cinematography for precious things like that, rather than not wasting it. But for me, sometimes I lose the interest of doing it when I'm on more commercial projects or things that are less meaningful to me. So I guess this project made me realize that, and hopefully that's what I would like to be doing in the next years as a cinematographer, just choosing really what kind of projects I can be working on.
And I think for myself, I can say that I would love to work with the team that we had again. I think we'll take our time though. I don't think we'll rush into a second film. We want to take the time to find the good story and find something that touches us but also can have an impact on people.
If it's, I don't know, if it's the first documentary, I think it's really important to be able to have, like, I think, full control in the artistic vision, because sometimes it's easy to be attracted to have like fundings and things like this. But I would say, like, if it's your first project and the documentary, it's important to be able to do it completely free with your vision, because it's going to be your visit card after, and it's going to be, you need to be able to show what you're actually really doing and what you want to do. So I think it's a really precious thing to have after your first project. So I would rather do it alone and with less resources, but really like closer to what you want to do, I think.
Yeah, I would go in that same vein of just trust your instinct and, don't let yourself influence too much, but take the time to think about it, and when it's time, just start doing it and just jump into it. Don't think about it too much.